Welcome to the Rural Revival Podcast. I'm your host, Dana Larson. This week we're in Underwood, Iowa with sixth-generation farmers Kevin and Sara Ross. We're talking about Kevin and Sara's important role in connecting with farmers and advocating for agriculture, including Kevin's new role as president of the National Corn Growers Association. We also touch on life on the farm with their 4 boys, the importance of technology and connectivity in farming and rural America, Sara's involvement with CommonGround, and some great stories around her transition to farm life. So here we go with Kevin and Sara Ross. All right, well, we're here today with Kevin and Sara Ross from Underwood, Iowa. Guys, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Well, Kevin, you are a sixth-generation farmer. Tell us about growing up on the farm.
It was a great experience growing up. So for me, my parents, didn't farm, but we grew up on my dad's side of the family farm over there, 5 miles away from here. We currently live on my mom's family farm, and we're sixth generation here and fifth on my dad's side. And yeah, my dad was a computer programmer, worked and commuted into Omaha every day for, 40 years or something like that. And then my mother was a grade school teacher at Underwood, but had uncles on both sides that were farming when I was growing up, and grandparents certainly that were involved in the operations at that time too. So, I've been involved in it since I was a kid, and enjoyed every minute of it growing up on the farm, that's for sure.
So did you always know you wanted to be a farmer?
So if you were interviewing my mom right now, she would tell you that I used to take every little farm magazine that she would save for me, and I would cut out pictures of tractors, and she had a ginormous pile of cut out tractors and implements and things like that were in one closet tucked away, and yeah, you could say that.
Well, Sara, when did you come into the picture?
I met Kevin about 13 and a half years ago. I did not grow up here in Iowa. I grew up in south central Nebraska in a small town, ag community, but not on a farm. My family's in the insurance business, so that's where I grew up. I had family on both sides that farmed, but I guess I met Kevin at the Commodity Classic out in Anaheim in 2006. So at that time, I was living in Des Moines, and was working, doing trade shows for a crop insurance company. And my version of the story is that he came over and talked to me in my booth. He claims that I was winking at him or something like that, but we'll go with my version. And
mine's the truth, though.
No, it's not. And yeah, we got married a year later after the following Commodity Classic and moved out to the farm. And it was... I got submersed in the farming culture here real fast. He claims that if I wouldn't have joined in right away, I probably still wouldn't be around, or he wouldn't have kept me around. But I enjoy it. It's completely different than how I grew up. I mean, I grew up on that quintessential street where you can ride your bike everywhere, and your mom yelled at you when it was dinner time type thing. The whole neighborhood was all kids and stuff. But I really I love living out here on the farm and raising our kids out here. It's a good way.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit about what that transition was like and how you kind of learned farming.
Well, I remember my first experience on the farm it was calving season. So I guess that was probably the best test, because when you're calving, you're here and you're checking cows around the clock and everything. And you can make plans, but you don't always get to do those plans. So I remember it was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and we had made plans with some friends, but there was a cow that was going to have a calf. So we stayed to keep an eye on her. But just seeing that, I think that one maybe was the one that had
Would
the
you like me
breech
to tell the
calf.
story? Yeah. So
Kevin can tell.
So first of all, there was a blizzard, so Sara ended up stuck down here, obviously an hour and a half away, but I think she tried to get stuck here. But yeah, there was a cow that we had that was breech calf, and whenever you got a breech calf, they just issues. And anyway, and so the cow was very unhappy. Obviously, the calf was wrong direction, and she was not pleased that we were going to have to pull the calf out, and help her out anyway. And she was very upset. This cow was not really nice. And anyway, and so Sarah and I had to call my mom and dad to come up and help. And
In the blizzard.
And in the blizzard, my old man comes up, and we were we were working on this. And as I'm with my arm in this cow trying
Bare
to grab
arm.
a hoof, I looked over the alleyway in the barn, and I was like, "How's this for you?" And she was a little squeamish, but she stuck around. So
It really was a good test.
Yep.
So, Sarah, at some point you started a blog. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about that.
So about, I don't know, I guess our first son was just born that year, and I was sharing with other people, like friends and family, kind of what we were doing on the farm. And blogging was kind of, to me, was a little bit newer. I know it'd been around for a little while, but I thought that would be a good and easy way to, just post on the internet, super quick and simple, and then, family and friends can read it and see what we're doing on the farm. And about the same time, I got a phone call from Iowa Corn asking if I'd be involved in this new group called CommonGround. And they kind of went hand in hand because CommonGround is a group of farm women, and our goal and our objective is to reach out to consumers in the urban areas and talk to them about our family farm. So it was about the same time that both of those happened. So between blogging and different social media platforms and CommonGround, I kind of got thrown into being an advocate for agriculture, and really enjoy it. CommonGround, I know what we do on our farm, but CommonGround has allowed me to reach out and meet other farmers and learn what they do too. So I like to talk to consumers about what we do on our family farm, but if they have questions about other, types of agriculture, I can answer some of the questions, but if not, I can connect them with a farmer that can answer those questions, whether it's dairy or, hog farming or raising sheep and things like that. I have friends that can talk on that. So I think it's a great way to reach out to consumers because, social media goes a long ways and all around the world. I know last time I looked, there was readers from all parts of the world reading the blog. I haven't blogged in a couple years, but most of it's still relevant. I like to share my recipes and things that we're doing on our farm through Instagram and Facebook and things like that now because it's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But blogging has changed so much over the years. But
the kids are just older in the pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
A little
Yeah. But it's still a good resource for consumers to check out.
Yeah. Talk about the power of the internet and how that helps you here on the farm.
Well, the internet's changed farming in general and changed, I think, the landscape of rural America in a lot of different ways. And, for the good side of it, there's just a lot of things that we're able to do now remotely. And when that keeps people with jobs and able to earn income, in the rural areas. And certainly from the ag side of it, there's just all kinds of different things, whether it's, auctions online. I can buy cattle from all across the U.S. and have videos seeing them, and which is, it's done all the time now. It's a normal practice for a lot of cattle buyers and a lot of people that have cow-calf herds. And so I'm sure that's similar in other species as well. But that's one of the big things that I've seen change, and certainly on the agricultural side or on the plants and agriculture side as well. It's helped from, I think, disease diagnosis standpoint, and also just being connected to people. You can talk about issues. And obviously, you could do that with a phone call before too, but the platforms are so much more broad. Where when somebody posts something on say Twitter or whatever, so many more people see it, and so you're aware so much quicker, I think, of things that are going on, and that's important from rural America's standpoint, and from, like I said, a disease diagnosis standpoint, things like that. I know what's going on, and in my neighbors' fields, a lot of times they post something about, hey, we're seeing this. There's a little soybean midge deal that has been popping up here in the last couple of years in our area, and that's been something that you can monitor. I've got some good friends that deal with those issues, and we've had some thistle caterpillar that they're having some issues with northwest of here, not too far away, and pest issues, things like that. Or, you talk about, what chemical programs work well, what other ones don't. So I just think from a social media standpoint, those have been simple and quick things that have changed really in the last few years. As well, the data transfer of things that we do now, it's kind of unbelievable when we have the crops and the GPS and all the, the sub-inch technology where we can go right back over the same row or move your rows over just a few inches every year. However you do that, having those, the GPS technology along with the internet connectivity are really key for rural America, just being able to transfer data and get mine back and forth to different platforms that I need to be able to have evaluate what we're doing here on this farm so we can get, that data back to us that much quicker so we can adjust and we can make different decisions for the next year.
Well, and it's changed so much over the years. When I met Kevin, he had dial-up because that was the only thing available then. I mean, I came from, a city, Des Moines area, and so I had high-speed internet there. But coming out here, I mean, it was that, when you dial up and you hear that noise and you have to wait for it and it's so slow. But
I don't even remember that, honestly.
Really? Well, because I worked remotely, and so I could work from here, but it was really hard to because of the internet issue. And then about a year and a half ago, we finally got fiber. We went from dial-up to satellite to fiber now. And it's also allowed me to be able to work from home. I don't have to go to an office. I can work, my desk is, you can see it. It's right over there. So I can work from home. I can be here, raise our 4 boys here on the farm. If Kevin needs help or driving the combine or whatever, just kidding. He doesn't let me drive the combine except for that one time when we finished up soybeans when we were dating. That was the only time.
Apparently there's a lot of things I don't remember.
With your farming operation and living on the farm, how do you stay involved? You talked a little bit about the internet playing a role in this, but how else do you stay involved and connect with other farmers?
Well, I think, definitely the social platforms are certainly key to that. But, for me, I had the privilege to be involved in the association side of it. And whether it was the Iowa Corn Growers Association or now on the national level at National Corn, that's certainly given me different opportunities than a lot of folks, and just to be able to say, hey, I meet with these people on a regular basis, people from different states, and in fact, I'm good friends with people from a multitude of states, so I can call them up and talk to them about their issues, and certainly I've traveled to a lot of different states, driven to see a lot of different people and understand their operations, and a lot of that was so I could understand the issues at a national level, so we could, so I can be a better advocate for them. But staying connected with farmers, I think in general it's just changed the way, our awareness of the issues that they deal with. And for me, being able to advocate for those issues and actually put them on a national platform or take them to, the Secretary of Ag or whoever, within those offices or even our, congressmen and senators' offices, you need to be able to understand the issue well. I mean, you also need to be able to, convey what you're told and what you understand. So those are things that I've, been lucky enough to have good training to do. And also hopefully we're, doing the right thing when we get out there and actually, convey those messages. But locally, it's also interesting because I'm gone a lot now, and trying to connect with or stay close to our local folks. But I think as Sarah mentioned, we, insurance side of things, we do some crop insurance work, and really I get a chance to talk with a fair amount of farmers in our local area, which is really helpful for me to understand not only those programs, but also, just knowing the issues that they're dealing with and talking to those guys a lot. So between that and just, a lot of friends and neighbors growing up in this area, you'd end up talking to a lot of people that you're have similar interests in, whether that's business or just shooting out the kids in 4-H and things like that. It certainly in sports. I mean, we're on the move a lot, so we stay connected with a lot of people.
So talk a little bit about why it's important that farmers step into those roles and take leadership and be a voice for other farmers.
I think the issues are always coming. There's not a time where somebody's not looking at ag for, a cut, or at least or people not understanding the value of agriculture in a lot of ways that I think we do, here when we're in the business. And so, there's just, you got to have people working for you all the time. And so being involved in those associations and at the farmer level, being able to take, your knowledge of the situation and, like I said, convey it to our advocates that are out in DC or at state capitol here in Iowa. You have to have people that are out there watching these issues every day, and I can't do it because I got work to do here, and I know that's the same way every other farmer is that's across the U.S. They've got their own jobs to do at home, so it takes membership, it takes association work. That's why you have these things that hire people and hire good people out there to be watching the issues and working for you every day, and that's it's very much needed, and I get a chance to see that for sure.
Yeah. Well, farming is one of those industries that can be very unpredictable and constantly changing. How have you guys learned how to navigate those changes?
I don't think we have learned to navigate those changes. It is unpredictable, and that's the thing. As much as you prepare and you try to make your farm, resilient to different issues, that's the best you can do. But you can never predict weather. I don't care, what they say for a short-term, long-term forecast. It's not something that's easily done, and they seem to be wrong a lot. So, those are things that I guess we try to. Like I said, we try to make our farm resilient, try to make it sustainable for the long term, whether that's our farming practices. We do a lot of no-till in our area because we're in the hills. And we've got, do some cover crop things, also, building soil health, but also because we have cattle. And so with the cows, it works out well from a grazing standpoint and a feed value standpoint. So we try to, you try to mitigate risk is what you try to do.
So you guys have 4 handsome boys. How are they involved on the farm?
They've basically been involved since day one. I think I have a picture of Hudson when he was a week old. He was born during calving season. So Kevin had him out there. He had little sunglasses on and checking the cows. But they help out, especially with the cattle. They really enjoy it. Hudson, our oldest, is showing his first bottle calf this week at fair. But they're out there helping do chores. The twins, who are just 3.5, almost 4, they'll any chance they get to go with Daddy to check cows or ride. They have been asking to ride in the combine nonstop, and we're a little ways off from that. But yeah, they love it.
They know they're not going to ride in the combine until the corn is brown, though.
Yeah,
that's what
we're a little ways
when the
away.
corn's brown. That's what they keep saying.
Do they just go sit in it in the meantime? I used to do that as a
No.
kid. Yeah,
They will climb the ladder and get up there though.
Yeah.
Just I guess to add on to what Sarah said, they do help a lot with cattle, and for the oldest only being 9, and then our middle son, he's 6, and he's just getting to the age where you can put a paddle or a flag in his hand and help move him around if you need to do that. You certainly got to be careful in what situations you put him in, but it's growing up on the farm, same thing. At those ages, you're learning, you're trying to figure out. As a father, you're trying to make sure they're in safe situations, and also teach them about farm safety, because there's a lot of dangers here. But you can never take away all the dangers on a farm or in a lot of different places. But in this case, there's certainly plenty of them. But one of the things that I think we try to do is make sure that they understand what things they should and shouldn't do, and we probably, let them do a lot of things, but, and are more hands off than some, but they, that's how they learn. And I'd rather have my kids, here and understanding what we do, and also, learning about the equipment and learning about the cows and growing up within that than having them try to go to it later and learning later in life. It's helpful for me, and also I think a good education spot for them.
Definitely. Well, as 6th-generation farmers, how do you plan on carrying this family legacy down through your kids?
It's these farms have been in the family for a long time. So I guess first off, you'd always like to keep them, in the family, but at the same time, we're having the opportunity to raise the kids here, and if that means they're not involved in the farm later, that's okay. They certainly they're going to figure out their own way in life. And I figure that this is at least builds their skills at this level, and hopefully that, that gives them a leg up in different situations. So whether or not they come back here, who knows, but, they certainly, will understand the values and understand food production and understand what it takes to grow, corn, soybeans, cattle, and other things here. So Sarah's got an extensive garden, so they're learning things about that too. But and I guarantee they're going to learn how to work. So that's something that I think is really one of the keys that we can help with those kids and help raise them with that type of work ethic. So I don't want to let that go by the wayside for sure.
Well, and we've been doing things, Kevin's been doing it since I've known him, but just over the years, every year we try to improve, whether we're improving the land, building our herd, things like that, looking forward to if somebody or all four of them, if all four of them want to come back, we'll probably be in trouble. But
I'm going to retire.
But
I'm going to sit back and watch the chaos.
we do want to make sure that if somebody does, or if some of them do want to come back and farm, that they do have the opportunity to do that someday.
Well, what do you love about your small town and getting to raise your kids here?
I love this area. Underwood reminds me a lot of where I grew up in South Central Nebraska. Small town, everybody knows everybody. The nice thing about where we live is we're also close to a bigger city, Omaha. So, we kind of have the best of both worlds. Growing up in a small community, our kids have a lot of opportunities in a small town that they might not in a big city. And they're involved in 4-H now. Sports keeps us going nonstop. But the education here in our small community is amazing. I think we're very lucky to live where we live. Kevin grew up here, went to the same school. His mom taught there. This is a great place to live.
Yeah, no question. It's just very lucky to have grown up in this area where we are close to the city, where you can have all the amenities of a city and still be as rural as can be out here where we're at. But it's just kind of, to me, I probably take some things for granted just because I did grow up here. But certainly, I would echo what Sarah said. The small town, I think, is in a lot of cases undervalued. And if you've grown up there, a lot of people come back to them because they see that later, and they go away for a while and then realize, small town life wasn't that bad. Personally, though, this home area for me, a lot of small towns around here are just, very, very nice towns, nice people. And I'm sure that's that way, all across the nation, but, home's home. And for me, this is it.
Well, I think that's great. And why do you think it's important that we be involved in our rural communities and help steward them for the next generation?
Well, I guess for me, my family has been involved in my community. Just growing up forever. My grandparents helped with all kinds of different things. Our local, it's called UMBA. It's the Underwood Memorial Building Association, and it's a local community town hall that always had all the events and roller skating Friday nights, things like that. My grandparents were very instrumental in building that, and it's still a wildly successful place today. And my brother's been involved in it. My parents have been involved in it. We do the 4th of July. I actually announced the 4th of July parade, and we get probably 3,000 people in our small town, maybe 4,000. I don't know. It's packed for that parade. It's a really great event. And then our local corn associations and church involvement, different things like that our families, I think, just grew up doing. And so for us, community involvement, I think, is just kind of a way of life. And these small towns, it takes people to make them go, and takes people to make events run. And in our case, we're just happy to be a part of that, I guess. And a lot of satisfaction it comes around when an event gets pulled off in your small town. I think people show a lot of pride when that happens.
Well, what's next for you guys?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, coming up next, obviously, is the National Corn Presidency. That's the first and foremost, and that's what is at hand. If you mean beyond that,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I have no idea. I know what the next 2 years looks
That's
like.
actually what I was thinking. So.
Yeah, that's coming up, and that's definitely a big job. Certainly, it's an absolute privilege to represent the 40,000 members that we've got across the U.S. and the broader 300,000 growers that raise corn, and so to be in that position and have been elected by my peers to do that, that's something that is. It's a position you do not take lightly. That's a large responsibility. So I'm looking forward to it, though. Very much want to make sure that the messages and the issues that corn growers deal with are put first and foremost on the national agricultural stage, and also that I think I hope people understand the value of what corn is to the U.S. Corn in general is it's a fantastic crop, and I think it's a little bit undersold as to how amazing the crop is, and as a grain itself, the many different uses, and the fact that it's so it's easily stored, and that's why it's really got to the levels that it has, and it's also from a production standpoint, it's something that's been gained in production and gained in value, and just the different things that we can do with it are absolutely amazing. And you could do a whole podcast on all the different things that corn uses that are out there. So you don't have to give me credit for that idea later. But
Okay, round two.
But yeah, round two. But it does. It's just something that I think hopefully I can bring focus to and bring a level of or elevate the crop itself in people's eyes, because it's truly amazing.
And we have a lot of it here.
We do. We happen to live in the corn state, but the entire Midwest, and it's it's the only crop that's grown in all 50 states, and so that's something that it's amazing. I saw Pioneer trucks going in Hawaii one time when we were there. I think it might have been on our honeymoon, and I was like, oh, this is like home. It's weird, but those types of things are little known, but it's that way because it is such an important crop to so many people.
So while we're on that topic, talk a little bit more about some of the uses of corn that we maybe do know about, but also that we don't know about.
Sure. Yeah. Corn, 4,000 different products, 4,000 plus that corn is in. And there's hundreds in your grocery store, but well beyond that, there's a lot of industrial chemical type uses. Obviously, ethanol is a big market for our corn, and makes a clean burning fuel that's helping to clean the air, and certainly helped out a lot of big cities across the U.S. and their air quality issues. So we're proud to be part of the ethanol industry and around here, and as well as are the people that I know that are involved in it. A lot of jobs that come from that ethanol industry as well. I also sit on a board for a biodiesel plant, and we've used a lot of corn oil. So you can say corn goes into biodiesel as well in some respects, but there's certainly corn oil is used in cooking, and a lot of different food products. As I said, you get a lot of corn in either candy bars, or, oh my goodness, it's in your milk and cheese because it's fed to the dairy cows, or in every steak that you happen to eat, or every hamburger, because I guarantee that pretty much every cow that's out there is being fed corn, whether it's in a silage form or in actual grain form. So and that would go for hogs and chickens and all the meats that are out there. So fantastic product. There's just tons and tons of uses. Plastics is one of the newer ones, that bioplastics, and these different polymer uses that are being developed. I think, as I mentioned, the versatility of the product itself, or versatility of corn, just an absolutely amazing crop, and the different pieces of that kernel, and even the fibers that are in the stalk and the cob too, that they're finding more uses for. It's fascinating, and people do research on it every day, and those are people that are more nerdy about corn than I am, so it's kind of amazing. But I don't know, Sarah probably has some other corn products that she could talk about too.
So not to be confused, but sweet corn is what we eat off the cob or in a can that you buy at the grocery store. And that's less than 1% of all corn that is actually grown in the United States. So I know this time of the year in mid-July, August time, everybody's eating a lot of the sweet corn. They're picking it out of the fields and selling it at farmers markets or in the grocery store. The type of corn that Kevin was talking about that has the 4,000 plus uses is the field corn that we grow here on our family farm in Iowa.
Sure. The only real direct food uses, I guess, of field corn would be, feeding directly to livestock that's going to end up on your plate at a great meal later, or the tortilla chips, things like that. Your tacos, burritos, things like that nature, or grits. In the South, that's something that would be basically directly from field type corn. Otherwise it's usually processed in some way, made into, different products. Sweeteners are really key, and sugar is just sugar. FYI, it doesn't matter. Your body can't tell the difference. Just thought I'd throw that in there because it's always confused and drives me crazy. But definitely, it's used in a lot of different products for sure.
Yeah.
Makeup, even. I can't believe Sarah didn't mention makeup, or did she? One of the other products that corn is made into is one of my favorites, whiskey. Probably too much of a favorite sometimes, but I'll tell you, it's, you don't make it without it, and there's a lot of people that would be very upset if we stopped producing corn.
Good point. Well, how do we follow along with you as the new president of the National Corn Growers Association, and Sarah, the things that you have going on too?
Well, for me, you can follow along at K Ross Farms on Twitter, and then also the National Corn Twitter is at National Corn, I believe. But follow along at National Corn or at Iowa Corn, and it's at Iowa_corn, I believe, for their Twitter handle. There's a lot of different things that I talk about on there. That we'll tweet about, whether it's renewable fuels issues, which are vitally important to rural America, or other production issues, or I might tweet about cyclone football every once in a while because it's also kind of a big passion of mine there. But those are the ways you can follow us, and hopefully we people are taking a look and seeing what we're doing.
That's great.
And that's a way to follow you. I will not be tweeting about cyclones, but you can follow along with me and what's going on the farm at _Mrs. Sara Ross, or on my blog is sarahs-house.com. So again, the blog, a lot of relevant things on there still, but up to date going-ons is more social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
The blog's on pause. The
blog's on pause indefinitely. But like I said, I still share a lot of the things on there. It's a great resource still for consumers to check out different things that we do on our farm and recipes and all the fun things I've shared over the many years that I did blog.
Perfect. Well, we'll link to all that in the show notes. Okay. Guys, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Dana.
Well, I don't know about you, but I learned so much in this episode. And guys, while Sarah didn't grow up on the farm, you would never know it now. And I have to say, as an Iowa corn farmer's daughter, it's fun to know that corn is the only crop grown in all 50 states. And there are over 4,000 uses of corn. I had no idea. I'm excited to follow along with Kevin as the president of the National Corn Growers Association, and I encourage you to do the same. So head to the show notes for those links. We want to wish all of our Iowa corn farmers and farmers everywhere a safe and successful harvest. Thanks again to Kevin and Sarah for being on the podcast, and thanks to you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Have a great day, everybody.